Hi everyone. Hope you're having a good week so far. Had a good weekend. Just wanted to get your week 7 summary up to you. I am coming to you live from sunny Orlando, Florida, here with my family at Disney World for a few days. But I did want to get a quick video out to you with just a few highlights from what we went over last week. Um, our last week's week was mainly about, we went over some policy analysis and evidence-based topics. But mainly policy analysis, and we really had a great, I'm going to flip over to the screen here, hopefully it actually comes up for the video. But we had a really nice health policy analysis checklist that was shared from some of our colleagues over at Johns Hopkins, but a really nice health policy checklist that can be used within a healthcare organization. So if you're looking to do an analysis of a policy of how it's going to impact your healthcare organization, or if you're just looking to do policy analysis, you can use this in some way to take a look at that and really be able to break down that policy, understand what problem you're having, how this policy, perhaps it'll be a policy that you're creating or a policy that you are, maybe perhaps, I shouldn't say borrowing, but sometimes we'll borrow policies from other places to implement, or maybe it's a policy that, maybe a large national policy that you are now adapting to use in your facility, and maybe it's some type of a regulation that now you need to create policy based on in your own organization. So all of these types of things can help. This policy analysis template can help with those things. So it was just a helpful tool, I thought, in general for use. A couple of the other things that we talked about: how can we use evidence from research for policy analysis? And this is, the notion of evidence-based medicine has been around for years. From a clinical side, we always thought of using evidence for research in our clinical side, but we don't always think about it from the administrative side. So we really want to think to use evidence when we're implementing new policies, implementing anything from an administrative side. Who's doing a good job at this, and take a look at what the research has been on these topics, and how things have gone well in other organizations. The next thing was with regard to your discussion board, which then led into your paper for the week, and specifically about, I'm going to flip over to our classroom here, looking at the building the evidence base for population level interventions document. And it talked about evaluating those interventions, those health policy interventions, and those 4 key contextual factors. So individual community assets and resources, organizational characteristics and partnerships, community processes and resources, and actually 1, 2, sorry, I'm reading them. Well, there's more than 4, aren't there? Organizational characteristics and partnerships, individual community assets and resources, community processes and resources, community values and political will, and implementation cost and resources. I thought there were 4, but there are 5. So the 5 contextual factors, and then which of those was most central to your topic. And it was interesting because some felt really strongly that the implementation costs, would be central to their topic and would generally be central to everybody's topics. That would have to be, because oftentimes capital, raising capital for something, those capital costs are really central to most everything. But that's not always the case. And if you think just generally, think about the Affordable Care Act and the repeal, the push for repeal, the building of that, which really is a population level intervention, it's kind of a major population level, but that has nothing to do with cost. At its roots, there's a notion that it's costing too much money, and that's why they want to do it. But that's all about political will. So not everything is based in cost, but a lot of what we do is rooted in cost. And somebody else in the class had mentioned about getting community resource community processes. So sometimes you may have a program that's very flush with cash and is very flashy and nice. And I had mentioned in the discussion boards, I've seen some, especially when I was doing my research for my doctorate, I saw some really nice, flashy wellness programs out there that really weren't getting much done, but they looked nice. But one of our classmates here in class talked about a really effective wellness program because it really was at the grassroots level and impacting those community members, and the community members were really engaged. Unfortunately, that program doesn't have a lot of cash, but it still is really effective. So to be effective, you don't have to have a lot of cash. Now you're going to be more effective if you can get more, but that kind of the most key contextual factor for that particular program was the community processes, getting that community engaged, and hopefully that will lead to some of these others. They're not definitely a one or the other, but hopefully the one will lead to the other will lead to the other. So just some interesting points there. So I look forward to reading your papers this week. Remember that this is a short week, ends on Friday. If you haven't submitted your paper, I had one student say that they were confused, that they thought the papers weren't due until Friday. So I didn't see that in the classroom, but if it is hiding out there somewhere, I apologize for that. But so if you haven't submitted them, please get with me. We do need to get everything submitted. I do have to have grades in early next week. So I don't want to leave you hanging out there if you haven't submitted it yet. So please get with me so we can make arrangements so your grade will be posted on time. So everyone have a fabulous week. Just one week left here to go, and I will be talking to everyone in the discussion boards. Thanks so much.